Hello board game brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode where I'll be letting you know of Kickstarters launching this week. We do this each week, so if you're new here, make sure to stay to the end of the video because we do giveaways every week, so you don't want to miss out on those. And I just moved here a little while ago and I've been doing a ton of renovations, and I've been teasing that my backdrop was going to be changing over the course of a few videos. And since then, everything's changed except for the area that I was filming in. And I just finished building this wall and it looks pretty awesome, so I decided to move my desk over here to make good on those promises. Smash the like button now if you want me to come and build you a wall. And make sure to subscribe if you want to hear about upcoming campaigns. Seriously, I can't start until you do. I'll wait. Smart move, I'm proud of you. Let's check out the Kickstarters. And the first campaign we have is Holy Animals, and this launches on the 15th and plays 2 to 7 players and takes about 15 minutes to play. And this game is all about trying to keep powerful, godlike animals well fed, or else face the consequences. Each turn a card is flipped from a shared deck, and if it's an animal god, all players must contribute a food card that matches the type of food that that animal desires. Players can challenge other players if they think that they played a card of a different food type, and if the challenger is correct, they get a reward, and the player who played the card loses a health. If the challenger was incorrect, then they lose a health. Losing too much health gets you eliminated from the game, and you win if you get enough points, or if you're the last one standing. Players can also play different ability cards to harm other players with Take That, or perform some special actions, or introduce chaos to the game. Also on the 14th is 2 Minutes to Midnight, and this is a detailed simulation of the Cold War. This plays 1 to 2 players and has scenarios that can take 2, 4, or 7 hours to play. Each side has their own strengths, weaknesses, and agenda, and players will be competing to bring their nation's ideals to the world by gathering and spending money to grow their military and influence economics, politics, and trade. The game uses a chip pull system to simulate the events of the war, and the game includes over 120 different events which may or may not take effect, which makes each gameplay very differently from the last. There's a few tracks to monitor each player's progress. There's the technology track, which is represented by a tree and includes nuclear weapons, the space race, armed forces, computing, industry, and agricultural progress. And then there's a military track, which has a few areas to explore. There's nuclear, which prevents aggression against your nation. There's conventional, which gives you more options to be aggressive. And then there's the naval track, which increases your intelligence gathering, as well as granting additional military actions and mobility. Players can also send out spies to benefit from the opponent's technological advances or limit the opponent's trade. The game ends after 9 rounds, and each round represents 5 years between 1946 and 1990. And the next few games are all launching on June 15th, and the first one is Paradox Initiative by Elf Creek Games, which plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 30 to 90 minutes to play. And this one's going to be our pick of the week.
Epic.
And this one's also going to be my pick of the week.
Double epic.
Elf Creek Games only has a few games, but each one has been very well received, which has been building them a track record as a trusted publisher. I've played both Atlantis Rising and Honeybuzz, and they're both very solid games with a very unique feel to them. Many of you may also know them as the publishers of Merchants of the Dark Road, which I believe is nearing fulfillment now, but it's been a very anticipated game and received a lot of positive coverage from many different reviewers. Based on what they've done, Elf Creek really seems like a company that sets a high bar for themselves in terms of quality of gameplay, as well as production quality, which honestly is a breath of fresh air. There are endless campaigns out there that boast deluxe components, minis, and incredible production, but then it's all paired with a subpar game, often without enough thought, or playtesting, or even intelligible rulebooks. My opinion is that there are a variety of different publishers that offer value in a variety of different ways. And if you just want a ton of plastic with a game slapped on it, there's publishers for that. But if you're looking for a really well-designed game that also looks good, Elf Creek is starting to prove themselves as that publisher. But in Paradox Initiative, players are mad scientists competing to claim strands of space-time from across the multiverse. You're going to be doing this to run different experiments and be known as the greatest scientist in the universe. Each player is going to be operating their own Paradox engine, but you're going to have to be careful with operating this machine. Every captured strand can have large repercussions as it sends ripples throughout existence, collapsing wormholes and preventing future generations from reaping the benefits of your experiments. And just like in Atlantis Rising, this was a re-implementation of an existing game. This game had a very similar name called Paradox, and the main mechanisms used were action points, card drafting, set collection, and then resource management, which uses a Bejeweled-like grid for each player to manipulate. It looks like the big changes made to this game have to do with streamlining the wormhole phase while also adding more options there. It also splits the scenarios into 2 categories of technologies and research, and then adds a new mechanism for gaining wild tokens when you flip over 3 discs of the same color. The original game also featured a lot of different artwork from different artists to give a very obvious indication of very different worlds that players will be exploring. I haven't seen any of the new artwork for this game, but it has nearly 20 artists listed on BGG, so this is likely a design choice that they stayed true to. I don't know nearly enough about this game to promise you that it's going to be good, but Elf Creek has done a really great job so far, and refining an existing game has worked well for them in the past. And if history repeats itself, this is definitely one to check out. I have links to all these campaigns in the description below, so if this one sounds interesting to you, definitely go ahead and check it out and click that button to get notified. Also on the 15th is Forests of Pangaia, and this is a cute little game about growing forests which plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 40 to 60 minutes to play. And in this game, players will be competing for territory and gaining points through pattern and set collection by grouping like trees or creating diversity on the forest floor. Each tile in this game will also be associated with one of the 4 elements, and players can not only collect these to gain points, but the power of the element is also unleashed as soon as a tree takes root on the respective tile. The components in this game look amazing, and I'm a huge fan of wooden components, and these are also designed in such a way that you can stack the different treetops on top of each other in order to represent the growth of a tree. This looks like a fun little filler game. Let's just hope that the current price of lumber doesn't affect those pledge levels. Next is Scarface 1920, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 60 to 120 minutes to play. And this takes place during the Prohibition during the Roaring Twenties, and players will be leading their own gang of mobsters, running their own bootlegging operations, brokering deals, and upgrading their HQ and bribing the authorities to turn a blind eye to their operations. Each mob boss has their own distinct set of abilities that are going to be reflected throughout the game, and players will be using area majority, card drafting, hand management, and different worker types to gain their advantage throughout the game. The game will also feature some familiar faces, miniatures, plastic resource tokens, and the player that rules Chicago by the end of the game wins. Also on the 15th is the relaunch of Cyber Odyssey, Breach to the Unknown, and this plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 90 to 150 minutes to play. And Cyber Odyssey is an open-world cyberpunk miniatures game where players control their own team of special agents to investigate a murder in the open world of New Eden. This game combines the designer of Joan of Arc with the miniatures from the same artists that worked on Batman Gotham City Chronicles and Mythic Battles Pantheon. This game is going to have a large 5-district map with quite a few possibilities for players to navigate. Just a few examples of what a player can do on their turn is purchasing new and stylish equipment, visiting bars and shows, taking part in illegal street races, fighting, brokering deals, and most importantly, discovering clues to solve the investigation. Players will navigate on the world map, but fighting occurs on a zoomed-in portion of the map that opens up several other possibilities when handling an encounter. And this one's from Red Joker Games that also created the Oko Chronicle games. And next is CHEDDAR BLiTZ, and this is a party game where each player is dealt 5 challenge cards at the start of the game, and each player is going to be racing to try and complete their challenge cards first. Each round, players simultaneously flip a challenge card, and this is going to dictate which cards that they need to gain in order to complete that challenge. Players will be swapping cards from their hand into a shared area as quickly as they can in order to fulfill the requirements of the challenge. Players can also play a flip-out card, which slows down other players by forcing them to swap out their challenge card for a new one. The game pauses whenever someone completes a challenge, they restock their hand, and then the game continues until a winner is determined. And now we have Hollywood Racers, and this plays 2 to 6 players and takes about 30 to 60 minutes to play. And in this game, players will be racing through different movie sets, attempting to be the first to reach the finish line. Players will be taking the wheel of 2 different cars, and the game features action points, a modular board, take that, and variable player powers. Players can perform up to 3 actions on their turn to move or use one of their vehicle's abilities to ram, honk, or repair. Each track has a different set of rules that players will have to adapt and use to their advantage in order to win the game. I'm not sure if I just mentioned this at the start, but players will be controlling 2 vehicles, and the first player to get both their vehicles over the finish line at the end of the game wins the game. Also launching on June 15th is First Ascent, and this plays 2 to 5 rock climbers and takes about 45 to 90 minutes to play. And in this game, players are rock climbers, each with their own set of skills and abilities. Players will be managing their resources and seeking the best route to climb in order to be recognized as the most skilled climber in their crew. Players will gain gear and skills to increase their efficiency and get in the way of the other players. Players gain points by completing both shared and hidden objectives, and the game also uses mechanisms like card drafting, events, map deformation, route building, and set collection. The player that gains the most victory points before the end of the game wins the game. And then the last game I have for you on the 15th is called King Fridge, and this is a party game for 2 to 6 players and takes about 20 to 30 minutes to play. And in this game, players are attempting to score the lowest overall valued hand. Players have partial information as each person's hand will have 2 cards visible to everyone else, and players will take turns drawing new cards and then optionally swapping them for their own. Using actions and special actions, players can perform different abilities to help themselves or to harm others with Take That. Once a player believes that they hold a lower score than all the other players, they can claim King Fridge. A wrongful claim will be penalized while a legitimate claim gets rewarded. The player with the lowest total score after 3 rounds is the winner. Thanks for watching this video so far, and if you find this info useful, please smack that like and subscribe button for a board game shelf reveal at 4,000 subs. Also, if you'd like to help out the channel while still getting an game for your shelf, check out kickstartergames.com and use the coupon code SHELFCLUTTER to get a massive 15% discount off your entire cart. Kickstartergames.com has a ton of games, so if there's one that you've been looking for, definitely head over there and save yourself some cash. A small portion of any sales made there will also come back and help this channel, so thank you in advance for helping me continue to survive the life of a YouTuber. I'll leave a link to kickstartergames.com in the description below. And now for June 16th, we have Coalitions, and this plays 1 to 6 players and takes about 1 to 4 hours to play. And Coalitions is a game of negotiations and conflicts set in the times of the Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars. Players will be competing for domination of Europe by maneuvering between neutrality and joining one of the coalitions. Victory can be achieved by winning battles and controlling territories, and the game ends when Paris is occupied by an enemy army or when the top of Europe's political ladder is reached by any player. The game is played on either side of the board depending on the scenario, and players can play as one of 6 major European powers, including France, Britain, Austria, Russia, Prussia, or the Ottoman Empire. Each plays very different with their own starting territories, generals, units, and battle cards. The game has no player turns and instead uses a rondel known as the Wheel of War, and all actions are performed simultaneously. Players will be using actions related to diplomacy, income, leadership, muster, scoring, and movement. Some examples are collecting taxes from the territories that you own, recruiting or moving units, increasing fighting efficiency, or petitioning to join a coalition. Battles are fought to gain territories and their benefits, and the winner is the player that commits the greatest strength towards their side. Each battle is going to reduce your nation's will, so this will also need to be monitored and managed to maintain military effectiveness. Players do alternate using the Wheel of War, and the other players may request additional actions from the controlling player. If allowed, this also grants the controlling player's nation additional will. This campaign will be offering a solo mode as well as an expansion that includes Spain and an additional game board. The campaign will be offering miniatures, some of them being Kickstarter exclusive, so if this is interesting to you, definitely check it out. I'll have links in the description below. And the last campaign I have to cover is launching on the 19th, and it's called BattleFish. And BattleFish is an epic capture the flag battle for control over the seas. Players will be building their army of fish-controlled battle bots to attack the other players' bases while protecting their own. At the start of the game, each player sets up their base to defend their flag, and then they take turns where they can choose to either attack or fortify. Attacking allows you to deploy your fishbot armies to attack your opponent's base. If won, a layer of defense is removed from their base, but each layer will need to be removed before you can capture their flag. If the battle is lost, then the cards that you use to attack are given to your opponent. Fortifying allows you to strengthen your base by adding additional cards as layers of defense. The stronger your base is, the more likely you'll be able to protect your flag. And the winner is the last team or player with their flag still in play. And that's it for this week, but stay tuned because we have some giveaways for you. And the first giveaway is going to be for an all-in pledge to Ruthless Tall, and this is an expansion to the game Ruthless, which plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 40 to 60 minutes to play. And this game combines deck building, drafting, and set collection with a pirate theme. Players will be building their crew and fighting their opponents over 6 rounds to gain the most points in order to win the game. This expansion is going to add a bunch of new content and mechanisms across several different modules that can be included or excluded from the game as you see fit. And if your tastes coincide with Alex from Board Game Co., you'll know that this is one that he really liked, as you can see from this very glamorous photo. And this expansion includes the Merfolk faction, new pirates with powerful special abilities that you can recruit to your raids, and a Kraken that is both a threat and an opportunity to gain some special rewards if you can fight it off. This also brings multi-purpose treasure chests, new powers, pirates, and treasures, and a brand new solo mode. And like I said, this is going to be for the all-in bundle pledge, and to enter this giveaway, just leave a comment down below with the hashtag Ruthless, and let me know what your pirate name would be. Or if you're not much for plundering, you can let me know what mine should be. Good luck in the giveaway. And the next one we have is for Azrah, War of Heralds, and this is a competitive tactical card game for 2 players. Both players will be building their own fantasy party from a roster of Guardian characters, and then they'll be using their party to defeat their opponent. Each Guardian draws from a familiar fantasy archetype such as the Paladin, the Warlock, or an Assassin. This game features elements of deck building, drafting, and resource management, as well as a party-based combat system. Both players begin with 5 health, and the objective is to reduce your opponent's health down to 0 by defeating their guardians in their party. And this giveaway is going to be for a summoner pledge, which comes with the complete game, as well as all unlocked stretch goals. And to enter this giveaway, just leave a comment down below with the hashtag Azrah, and let us know what your go-to fantasy class would be. I never got a chance to play too much D&D, but I did play a lot of Ultima Online, and I had a few different characters in that game, but my favorite one, surprisingly, happened to be my Tamer. She was a very challenging character to play, and I had to get really creative using her in combat. And now let's draw the winners for last week's giveaways, and the first one we have is for Paris and the Paris expansion. And to draw a winner, I use this fancy application here, and all these extra names down here are bonus entries from my Patreon subscribers. If you like this sort of content and you want to help support the channel, definitely check that out. I have links in the description below. So let's go ahead and grab the comments and put a URL in there. Let's try that again. And for this giveaway, I'd ask viewers just to tell me something in French. And our winner is, I'm not familiar with this character, so sorry if I get your name wrong, but our winner is Goodberg Heraldson. And using my expert French translating Google search capabilities, we can see that he said, what goes around comes around. And maybe that's why you just won yourself an awesome pledge for Paris. Congratulations. And the next giveaway we had was for a pledge for Mechanical Beast. And this giveaway was actually run over on the Discord, which you can find a link to in the description below. And this actually gets drawn automatically a little bit after these videos. So if you haven't entered already, you still got a little bit of time to do that, but check out the Discord to see if you won. And the next giveaway was donated from the creators of Quest Heroes of Sorcado, currently on Kickstarter. And they actually wanted to give something back right away, so they're going to be offering a bundle of their existing games. So I'd ask viewers to leave a comment with the hashtag quests and let me know which of their existing games most interested them. So let's go ahead and draw the winner. And the winner is Choco, and they say that Battletech looks interesting. I saw that one come up a lot in the comments, and it seemed like one a lot of people had a positive experience with. Congratulations on the win. Just email me at adam@shelfclutter.com and we'll get those pledges all sorted out for you. Until next time, keep that shelf cluttered and the table full.